This is the cast here. Anyways, so this is what I've got so far of mine, and I'm trying to basically take the cast, and you can see where I'm starting to save the bottom for the flute. I still have just a little bit extra room on the tip. This is the cast, and you can see on the bottom where I'm starting to kind of line up these protrusions that stick out, bring the bass in a little bit, and then leave this much for my fluting. So I started looking at that, and I was thinking, as I was working this earlier, I kept thinking, man, this thing is just setting up really nice for a flute, for convexity. And then I remembered about about this, and so I was like, you know what? So I decided to have a change of plans. I've got plenty of stone, and I really want to work out the Danish dagger and stuff on basalt, and then once I am able to do that on the basalt, I think I'm gonna then just a step away from doing it on the flint. So that's the change of plans. I've only my wife, Mama Bear, I call her. She only give me a little bit of time right now. She's like, you got a half an hour, and then we gotta have to do some Christmas stuff. So this is just kind of a real quick little deal here. So we'll see how far I can work. I've already wasted about 15 minutes just getting this stuff up and running. So this is where we're at so far from where I left off. You can see I did some heavier bifacing, and all done with the pivot and press. I haven't touched I haven't touched my billets, although I've been tempted to a few times. And I just have a tiny little speck of the skin here, and that's the only thing I've got left from any of the outside cortex. And you can see I've worked a little bit on the tip so far, down to about here. So I'll just kind of pick up where I left off. And I guess that these pieces that were sticking out to the side, these points, I guess they're leaving them like that for extra penetration so the other part would go through. That's what I'm speculating, I guess. Let's see which one's higher. Is this one here? So right now I'm going to just kind of go through and try to take my paddle. And on some of this I'm going to start to take off this squash insert, and start to switch over. Now this one here is an antler, what they would call a drift in the archaeological record, drift punch. This one's a buffalo. This one is the same length as the one that was studied of the antler piece that had inclusions of shirt inside. So it can't be argued that they weren't used for flint knapping. So this way, wrapping it over the tip like this, and then laying it across this finger and letting it drop, it still gives you that channel but protection over your finger, so that you're not impeding the flakes. So I'm going to go ahead and try to go along here with that one of those parts from the cast that's sticking out. So I'm going to just try to go right along the side of it, define it a little bit more. And like I said, if you don't do that and you get a little shy, then you're not going to be pushing in a little bit. And in this stage, when I'm switching the tools, that's when I am pushing in against this a little bit more, putting a little more inward direction. And that's what's nice with this process, is you can do any type of flaking that you're wanting to do. That one just, yeah, it got all right. You can see where it fanned, but see now that this tool is now taking a narrower, and it went right into there. So I'll do one on the other side over here. Not trying to take huge steps, just trying to define this piece a little bit. Real big piece like this, I'm going to put my tip on there. You can see all that came away with that strike right along here. And it fanned out right into here. So now I'll come, I don't even think I need to do another one on that. I don't want to do too much. So I may just make it a little, and you can see here on the cast that knot right there. I gotta figure out if that's the right one. There's the one that's a high side, one that's a lower side. Okay, so now this high side, I can come from this other side of it a little bit. Just nice, easy pieces there. I'll take this tool here that I use for shaping. I'm just going to kind of round it around. It's got a little bit of a delta on it that I'll want to take off. It's because the other one's not really from a delta. So I need to come in right here. Little short steps here. And as I come in, I'll work some more flakes going in, and I've got a troubled spot on that side that I want to get around. Might as well try to take some of that off. Okay, now my little rock here, I really love this one. I finally found it. I had misplaced it the other night, and you can see it's got a little spot here that I put my finger on. Got this little spot here this one rests up against, and you can see how it's just kind of worn to the side. And I love this one for, and I turn it abruptly so I'm going away from it, so I'm not trying to get any kind of a bulb going to the inside. I just, on areas like this right here, you can see where it's, because I'm working it in, I'm going to stall, and I'm going to try taking these, running a flake over this way to clean up some of this. I've got just a little bit of a stack building on this side, a little mace ledge across here. If you're looking at it the side like a mountains, little ledge, and so I'm gonna try to peel that away. So what I'm going to do is turn this very sharp away, and I'm going to go down and barely tapping it, and I'm pressing hard with my finger against the other side, and it's kind of tricky because you don't want it to get too much. There we go, and you can see the piece. Oh, it just fell. So now I have this sticking out. Let's see if you can see it very well. So this brought that mountain right over like that. Now it's a little bit too sharp. So now I'm gonna take my sandstone piece. I need to get a little better organized at that, I guess. So I'll use the big piece here. I gotta figure out where it went to. There it is. Okay. Now my main thing too is, as I've said before, on these ledges that go across here, you want to grind it a little bit, because ancient man did do flake over grind. It's just that when he did do it, it was over the top of bifacing. And so if you think about it, instead of today when guys don't get to learning to biface and anything, they jump right into flake over grind, they're grinding out a piece from scratch to that perfect shape to where they've achieved convexity, and then they, you know, it's for aesthetics. It's just then you can have this beautiful scarring that goes over there, and you haven't risked the in shock that somebody who's bifacing does. When you grind, and I'll do a video one of these times on, because I believe that the very best oblique flaking that there is was done by ancient masters that then went, once they took the biface and they ground it out, kept wetting it, ground it out on sandstone, and then did their flaking over the top. It isn't as hard as people think, because you're not actually having to go totally smooth to where you're then able to shoot the flakes. What you're doing, as I'm just showing right here, if you did grind, see this spot right here now? See how that's diminished? That's because I'm not grinding a whole flat surface like it. You're only grinding the ridges. And then when you grind those ridges down enough, the next flakes that you shoot, it's rounded, and they will then cut a new path and a new scar across it. So that's that. Might as well wear this one down here a little bit as well. Got a spot in the center. And I like to leave the little dust that it creates on there. When you look at the actual casts of a lot of the pieces, and keep in mind that most of the casts, they're the finest pieces that are in the archaeological record. You look at them and you look at, okay, he shot, you can tell if somebody's right-handed, left-handed. He's going this way, which is the way I would do. And then what I've typically done is I come over here and I typically come across straight. Well, then you hear people say, no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go this way. And I look at this cast and I'm like, okay, his flakes are going in this direction, but he's also got one that's coming over here. You know, it's like, and then over here, they're straight in, exactly like what I do. I've got a piece of that in over in the finger of the other side. Okay, so you can see here, it took that out. There's still just a tiny little piece right there. That's not a big deal, too much. So that's fine. And I'll measure this up. I maybe want to come in right there some more. And hopefully the flute will come out, but I'm pretty comfortable doing Clovis. And I actually have a little bit to go on the tip, a little bit of room, and then I have the room on the base for setting up my flute. So I'm just kind of making these pieces that are sticking out of the cast. I'm just kind of laying them out right now so I have them as landmarks, and then I can do my thinning, my final thinning around them. So this one here, this pronouncement that's sticking out, I'm going to take shots from this side because it's thicker on that side. You can see the nice flakes from the other side that's popping out there. Nice thinning flake. Barely go at it, turn it over here. Nice little thinning flake there. Let's see what we got going on up here. Side, low side, that one. Okay, so now I'm going to come in right here. You can see that one ran all the way. See it right here? And notice how the difference between the tool size that I've gone with the caterpillar insert. Now I'm shooting real thin, long versus these very wide, elegant flakes. And I'm wanting to leave just a little bit extra because I will be taking some flakes still that'll be thinning flakes, you know, so I'm just trying to get a little bit of an outline and leave a little bit extra over it. See a shot that I want to take, and you can see this percussion on this side here. So since I'm bringing this side in, I see this spot right here I want to take and get it to blend over into this kind of like an oblique scar. So again, I'll switch over here. I think I'm going to go with the wood insert just for fun. since I'm trying to match up with a nice wide scar here. We'll see how that. So I'll push on this one, putting my thumb up against here, kind of spring loading it. But I am going to try to drive that forward a little bit. Oh, shoot. Drop my striker. So I'm aiming this in that direction. It took off a little bit of that troubled spot that I have right in here. See, so I'm trying to eat away at that little by little. Now I also see another, since I took that spot now and it's come through, I can take another one right in front of it too, if my pattern here will allow me. Push in. Got a little bit, but there's a little bit of a problem right in there, but it's all right. It's okay. And over here, we have this. Can run a shot over here. Two shots, as a matter of fact. Almost got that whole boink there, and then I can run this in right here to this side of it. I'll use my little now I just grabbed the antler. I do notice the buffalo tends to have a little bit more of elasticity to it that I like. Same way with my wood. You have different characteristics from the different woods you use. Take a shot up in front of it a little bit, and you can see where that's still looking nice. Here's that pronouncement, but I'm wanting to leave it. I'm only trying to get just to the inside of it to got that little piece, because the idea behind those, I believe, was it was functional, because as this was penetrating, you would come to that spot which would open it up, and then as it's sliding through, you would have more cutting going on, and then it would puncture again through these little sharpened pieces you'd have along the side, allowing more mass behind it to penetrate. That's what I think, anyways. So come in over here. There's the high side. is getting a little bit on that other side. Hopefully didn't make it too narrow, but I got some nice defined patterns coming across here. Let's see where we're at. I might have went a little too narrow at the top. We'll see. High side, low side. Bam. Well, I think if I just round this tip here to equal this, I think that's going to have it. I really hate the thought of making a point shorter to match this tip, but maybe I'll just leave it long and then okay, so now this has got to come in more. I really hate the thought of making a point shorter to match this tip, but maybe I'll just leave it long and then okay, so now I want to leave a little bit of this out. See, that connected up right across here nicely. Go with the wood insert. I think it'll be a little less aggressive. I don't know, or I just go ahead and, there was a little hanger right there, flute it, let's see where we go. See if we can peel off some more of that little hinge right there. I'll go ahead and take this one on my leg. So you can use your, now I don't think this was necessarily the ancient way of doing it because you weren't sitting on a bucket. You could sit on a log, I guess, you know, and do it this way. But if you use your leg, you get the angle that you want along here. So you can get the perfect angle. And voila. You can see that stack part that I was try to reassemble some of this here. There's that direction there. Here's part of this here. Okay, so here it is reassembled. See, so I took the shot here, and it took all of that off right there and blended right across into there. Oh. By the way, any of you tuning in last night that seen my Iron Maiden shirt, tonight it's Pink Floyd. This is a little prominent there, and here's what we got so far. Boy, my cast is starting to get dirty. High side, low side. I have a little bit to work with on the tip, and then I'm saving this down here for my flute. This is a little too pronounced. I can bring that in. And if you notice, they're a little bit pronounced, so I'm able to bring it in. This looks more pointed here because I have a longer tip. Once I round that, you know, bring that in from here, then it'll give it more of, because right now it just looks very, very long. This one here is still a little thinner. So, but I can thin this up some more. But I'll leave this for now, come back to it. And I think I might take a couple more small shots from the side just to set this up a little bit more for a fluting. And then I'll set this up, take the flutes, see where that goes, and then finish it out. Oh, thanks for watching. Oh, Barry's there. Hey, buddy, don't mess up, Grasshopper. So, well, that's